What is up, geeks and geekettes? It's another episode of the Countdown to the Geekcast. My name is Steady, and with me on this episode is the one and only Mike.
What's up, guys? We are barreling through 2022 Electric Boogaloo, and we are here for another episode of the Countdown City Claudio cast. It's not true. I'm just going to say it every intro, no matter where I'm at. So here we go.
Oh man, he's not going anywhere. Okay,
No.
and joining us once again, you know him from the Alamo City Movie Talk. It's one and only Ryan.
What's up? What's up, baby? Happy Monday, everybody. Get that groove on. What a better way to start the week on talking about the God of Thunder.
Ooh, there you go. There you go. This is going to be our Thor Love and Thunder discussion episode. Do not fret. We will not be spoiling the movie just yet. I rhymed. I didn't even mean to. We're going to start off this episode by doing a non spoiler quick take about the movie. Again, you don't have to shut this video off right now. But once you hear on non spoiler take, if you haven't seen the movie, I highly recommend you pause this video, take the family out to see Thor: Love and Thunder, and then come back and watch the rest of our discussion. All right, gentlemen, this is exciting. Uh, I'm not even sure which number of Marvel movie this is. I think we're in the late 20s right now.
It's
It's
like
like 25,
25, yeah.
26, something like that. Yeah. And there's no signs of slowing. Despite what you think, what you don't think, this movie opened up to 300 million worldwide. Obviously, the number one film around the world. And fans are talking about it left and right. Some bad, a lot of good, and we're here to sort of get through all of that stuff. But my first quick impressions about Thor: Love and Thunder. It is a highly entertaining space opera that I laughed from beginning to end. I would recommend this to anybody. I feel like as a child of the 80s, this tapped into something that we don't get anymore. This is my I'm not even gonna say my generation. This is this generation's Big Trouble in Little China. And if you don't know what that is, go watch that movie after you're done with this, and you'll probably see what I'm getting at about that. All I can say is I went to have a good time. I had a better time than I expected I was going to, and there was still a lot more depth to this movie than just the comedic jokes and the slapstick comedy and the quick witted humor. I think that there's still many layers to this movie, and that's quite an achievement. It probably resonates with me a little more, and I'll explain why in our spoiler discussion. But I just want to say I was pleasantly surprised, surpassed my expectations, and can't wait to talk even more about this. Mike, you were with me. We watched
I
this.
was.
Let me
It's just
know.
me and you. It was
Give
really
us
nice, man. I appreciate
just us, the whole theater to ourselves. We shared one
Really?
chair, by the way. I don't know why we did
it.
that, but
Tickets are expensive. So.
there you go. Let us know what you think, man. Your non-spoiler, quick take
Um,
on Thor: Love and Thunder.
I mean, I'll kind of agree with a lot of things you said. Like, it was an enjoyable experience. Visually, there were a lot of cool things that played, especially toward the end of the film with some of the stuff they did. Um, Tons of humor. Um, it kind of picked up a lot of the things that, Ragnarok did, and honestly kind of went even bigger with them. Things that hit. Um, yeah, like and then out of nowhere you're like laughing and like these guys are just dorks, and then it's like boom, here's this emotional stuff, and you're just like, what is
Where did that
this?
come
And
from?
it's yeah, and it's real. Like you feel it. Chris, again, not to get too far, but if you think about Thor, his journey in through Endgame, his whole kind of story about losing everyone around him and how that makes him. I mean, they really played back into that with some of the stuff, and it's like you said. I agree. There is more depth to it. If I can understand people who may not like certain things about it, and we'll talk about that later in the spoiler review. but I enjoyed it. It was fun, and I honestly want to go see it again soon. Um, yeah.
Dang.
Very nice, very nice. And Mr. Ryan, your quick take, non spoilers, please, on Thor: Love and Thunder.
So I saw it twice. I saw it on the premiere, and then I saw it on Saturday night. Just because Thor is one of my favorite OG characters of the when it comes to the original OG movie Avengers. He's really my favorite out of the 4 or 5 or 6. The OG Avengers, the Marvel's the Avengers movie. So I, there's a lot in stake here. Like there's a lot that I would say that that I really like. I'm trying to grasp because it's not spoilers yet, so it's like it's kind of hard.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
But I'm the total opposite right now with you guys. I really am. I'm the total when it comes. I'm the total opposite when it comes down to like where you guys were saying a lot to do with what was it, like y'all mentioned the comedy and all that. See, I'm not a fan of the comedy. I really wasn't. Totally opposite here. I did not like the comedy in this movie. Again, I'm not gonna say that this movie was not enjoyable. It's very enjoyable. I really had a good time in this movie. Not to say that I didn't. But it goes back to where the emotional grasp that I really wanted to feel, it kind of misled it. The music was just terrible. I did not like the music. It was music that was overused in so many other stuff and so much different. I've seen it Stranger. I mean, we've seen this music throughout the whole, like, it's just nostalgic. It's just it's definitely it's definitely different. It's definitely something that was just overused over and over again. But yeah, I mean, I'll say that. I mean, was it just me on the music part, or is it just everyone? I mean, they were good selection of songs. They were.
We were just actually talking before you got in how we could literally have named this movie instead of Love and Thunder. I guess it's a little bit of spoiler if you haven't seen it, but it can kind of be renamed Thor Guns N' Roses. But
Yeah, and then even
I like it.
Yeah, but even so though, like, I mean, I just did not. I did not. I a lot of it I just really was dreading because I was just like, really, like, it's a very serious moment, and then they throw like a 1 cent or 2 cent or 5 cent joke that I like to call, and it just kind of removes the grasp on the whole emotional feel. And that's the thing too. If anyone asks me, "Oh, did you like Thor: Love and Thunder?" I'll be like, "No, I liked Thor and Jane movie more than I liked Thor: Love and Thunder." That makes any sense because the Jane chemistry was just, this was the most Thor and Jane we ever got in a movie, and they said that from the beginning that this was gonna be the whole like main plot of the story. And so knowing that we got a lot of them together, it was very good. I felt great. Natalie Portman did an amazing, good, fantastic job. I loved her emotional grasp on it. I really did. I mean, but again, the music for me was just terrible. I hated the music. Not to say I'm not a Guns N' Roses fan whatsoever. It's just I'm tired of hearing the same songs over and over and over in different stuff and try to keep. Hey, Ted. All I'm saying.
What does that mean?
All I'm saying is that Tyga. Okay, this felt and I read and I'll be honest here. I was worried that this was gonna feel like a Thor Ragnarok 2 movie versus an actual, and that makes any sense because I've I read a few reviews and they kind of like, hey, this is like Ragnarok 2 review, and I was like, oh, that makes sense. I've heard this movie feels like an episode more. And I'm not a fan of the ending. I hated the ending, by the way. I did not like the ending whatsoever. But not to spoil it. I'm not gonna spoil it, but I hated the ending. I mean, I wasn't a fan of it. I really wasn't. Yeah, yeah. I really was not a fan of the ending. I mean, yeah. It just, a lot of it did not sit well with me. But here's the thing, though. I mean, knowing that this is the most movie that the most movie that made the most money in the box office and everything, it's just crazy to me. It's really good to hear that, and it's really good to see that Thor fans, Marvel fans came out to see this movie because it really was going to be exciting. Like I was excited to see this movie, and without spoiling it again, I enjoyed it. I really did. But at the same time, I'm just like, oh, they could have gone a totally different way, without going to spoilers. I'll leave it at that. That's
all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
And for those of you still with us, that is the end of our non-spoiler quick take. From here on out, You've been warned. We're going to be diving into the deepest corners of the movie and discuss, are there any other parts actually alive that Korg has? We may reveal some things to you, or maybe we won't. You have to stay and find out. Yeah, but spoiler warning from here on out regarding Thor: Love and Thunder. Cool. Number one, I need you, Ryan, to later on tell me what the part is that you say was serious, but jokes ruined it, because I've heard that once or twice, and
Yeah.
I've been cycling
I
through
I
it,
could
and I
I've
can't
named
figure
three.
that out.
I can name you three scenes, and then also without spoiling. I mean, oh, sorry, spoiler. I did not like
Spoiler
the villain.
warning.
I think the villain selection, the villain selected for this was terrible. I thought they could have picked another villain. And again, nothing on Christian Bale's part, nothing on that, but I feel like they could have picked another villain because Gore the Butcher, we all know, like he just it's a very serious character, almost and to know that Tyga really said like this is more villainous, this is more, I forgot the word choice he used, but again, this is not. I'm overstating it, but he said this is the most villainy thanks to Thanos. Gore the Butcher. That's what he said essentially. Like that's what he was saying, comparing it to Thanos. That's what he did in the interview, and
Interesting.
I did not see that one bit. I did not. I was terribly, again, not on Christian Bale's fault. Nothing on him, but I feel like they should have picked another villain. And it just, again, story wise, I mean, I don't know. It just, again, it felt like Thor Ragnarok too.
You know what he could have been talking about was the actual plot of the movie. So, spoiler warning again.
Yeah,
Christian Bale plays Gore, who's later known in this movie as the God Butcher. God Butcher, who
yeah.
his entire civilization, his race, or his village of people were wiped out. They suffered through droughts and famine, and his daughter dies in his arms. And his motivation from here on out is to take out revenge out on the gods who he thought he could count on, but instead sort of mocked and belittled him. So he went around the galaxy murdering gods and titans and other sort of beings of great power.
Mhm.
And it comes down to Thor, who I'm still wondering if, like, he doesn't need to kill Thor. He doesn't need to kill sort of anyone on Asgard. It's just to carry out his plan. He
Mhm.
needed a tool in order to cause
See,
mass casualties
that
regarding
story.
gods across the universe. And I think that's what Taika's trying to say, is that this is a being who's
Okay,
trying to tap into some great power. This is a
I
Gore is trying to tap
yeah,
into some great power
I get
to
that.
cause a mass
So
extinction
to
level event.
not to get more geek side, sorry, to get more geek side of it. Here's the question I couldn't answer. Again, I could be totally wrong here because I'm not a Marvel. I'm not a Marvel as much of a Marvel nerd as the DC I am. Um, so in this movie universe, uh, Gore the Butcher, how is he able to transport to each realm, and then yet he needed the Bifrost thing in order to like how was he able to travel to each planet or universe, I guess, or however you want to say it.
Yeah.
They never fully explain that, which I mean, I could be totally wrong here. Put on comments down below. I could be totally wrong. Ryan, you did this. Yeah, I could be totally wrong here, but I could have missed it. But at the me thinking about it, rethinking about watching it after at the second time, I was like, wait, how is he able to travel to each one? And then yet he needs the Bifrost from from Thor. Like it doesn't make any sense. Because the Bifrost essentially means you go to another realm, right? So why wasn't he able to
Well,
do it?
yeah, no, I think you're right. Like at the beginning, when he starts traveling and you find out that he's killed all these gods already, they
Yeah,
don't really talk about his transport. You're right. I think what he needs
yeah.
Stormbreaker is kind of tying into that Thanos level thing, is he realizes, much like Thanos did, that this is going to take a while going to each planet. Thanos was cutting them, all of them in half.
Mm,
Um, and if he gets, so I mean, the MacGuffin, if you will, the Eternity thing, which was kind of a cool bring up, but it's a weird premise to, like, if you can reach it,
concept. Yeah.
he'll grant you a wish. But so yeah, so he needs that, I guess, to travel to the center of the galaxy, of the universe,
Mm,
um, wherever Infinity is, and um, So once he knew that, then it would make it easier because then he could wish all the gods dead at one time. But you're right. At the beginning, they don't really discuss if he has some sort of ship, and he's kind of going through like you always see the Guardians doing, just like going through the little hexagonal portals or whatever. They don't talk about that at the beginning, but it seems like you need Stormbreaker to use the Bifrost because that can get him directly to the
No,
middle of the
no,
no.
no. He doesn't need Stormbreaker to travel. He only needs Stormbreaker to cross into
Eternity.
Okay,
eternity.
so that's the
Yeah,
other.
he can get
Okay.
there. He can
Okay,
get there completely on his own for whatever reason.
Yeah,
And
it didn't make
we
sense to
needed
me.
we
It
just
didn't
need to
make
take a
sense to me.
screenshot of his like diagram.
Yeah, no, no, no.
Stormbreaker
Yeah,
somehow is
yeah,
the
you're right.
only
You're right.
key that opens the
but
door.
so
Other
so
than that, he can travel to and from.
yeah, exactly. So that was my little misconception there. I was like, wait, if he can travel, why can't he just travel there to that world or realm and just go there? Why does he need the Bifrost though? It
Not the
could essentially,
Bifrost.
or I
Not the
mean, I'm sorry,
Bifrost.
not the
Just
Bifrost,
Stormbreaker.
Stormbreaker, but
Okay.
it is the Bifrost essentially because it powers up like the Bifrost and he's shooting it into that little circle thing where it gets like energized or whatever, and that's when he goes into that realm. Right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
No. That's a better
Yeah.
way of thinking it. Either it's Stormbreaker or it's the Bifrost. E- Either one, it's just like it needs. That's the key. He doesn't
Yeah.
travel. It's just to open the door.
So that's what I got out of it. I was like, wait, how was he able to travel all these different planets and we noticed that and again too like why does uh why were the Guardians even in this movie? Like I was
Okay,
just
I will
like
say that's one
like,
thing I was also a little
yeah.
disappointed with, given how Endgame ended. I didn't think like they were going to be in there for the whole part, but I thought there would have been at least or maybe a better mission, more than just kind of that like montage into that thing. I agree with that a little bit. I would have liked to see a little
Yeah.
more actual out of the Guardians at the beginning, but
Yeah, I'm not. I don't have an answer for that, and
I I was
I
not a fan
don't.
of it.
I don't think I
It would
expected it though. I kind of figured trailers or whatever else like the Guardians were just going to be a quick exit and
you
yeah,
know
we
what
weren't going to have to focus on them that much.
Yeah, it would have been cool just to see like a quick glimpse, like remember me, pow, wow, of Thor, like him talking, Chris Hemsworth talking in the beginning of the movie. It would have been way more funnier. It would have been like, yeah, that's me kicking ass or something, right? And then just like, oh, the Guardians, yeah, we left them or whatever, like real quick, just like closing that. We didn't really need that scene there. I didn't think it was really essential to the whole. I mean, besides the goats, right? But I mean, it really wasn't essential to the whole story in itself. I was just like, wait, why are the Guardians even in this movie? Like, why were they even? I get it. It's like we know where they were at. He was with the
yeah.
Guardians and
If you're
their
thinking of it
adventures
like
and all
that way,
that.
then it's literally because
Yeah,
that's the last time we saw them. I actually wanted
yeah,
to see a little bit more
yeah. I
in
thought
that
there could be
first
more in
little.
the movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't
me
think
too.
obviously the whole movie, but like it was just that kind of beginning, and then they take off. I really assumed
Hmm.
like what was going to happen, like when years ago after Endgame, was that they would kind of have a small mission at the beginning, kind of what they did, but
Hmm.
then they would need to go off, and I thought you would get a better idea of what Guardians 3 might be about, like when they take
Ooh,
off and leave
ooh,
Thor.
yeah.
I always thought that would be kind of happening, but you don't really. They just take off to rescue more people. So
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, oh,
I
go
want
ahead.
to make sure that there's a lot of the things that we call out. Like you just mentioned, you kind of thought it would be a little bit funnier, Ryan. I don't think the first act of this movie could have been any funnier. Like it was just nonstop absurdity. It was zany. The word that describes it the
Oh
best to
God.
me is zany. And here's a few things that I'm picking up
It was
on.
poor comedy. It was poor comedy.
No, no,
It
no.
was just like really
This is comedy at its
no.
finest.
Oh my God.
This is Rick and
Ugh.
Morty. This is like I mentioned earlier. I was getting major Big Trouble and Little China vibes. Chris Hemsworth is channeling Kurt Russell in this movie, and I don't know exactly if that's a
Literally
fact
with
or
his
not.
shirt, but
Literally,
Yeah,
exactly,
like
right?
I mean the look,
Um,
yeah.
yeah,
yeah.
the whole look, it feels like it. But it's such it's over the top, but you have to either like commit to it or it falls flat. And to me, they committed and I loved it. I was getting early on in the beginning of this some very Brad Pitt did a movie about Troy. Oh, Troy. It kind of started out like Troy. You know, Brad Pitt's over in his tent. He's got a couple of chicks with him, and they're like, "We need you to finish this war." And Brad Pitt walks out there and like kills some like 8-foot dude with like one quick move and that kind
Yeah,
of thing.
sure.
So it feels like it's starting out like a little like Troy did in that regard. And
What?
then and
Well,
then to do well in the sense that like they're just calling on
don't
this
compare.
warrior.
Whoa. The opening scene of Troy is nothing in comparison to the opening
You're
scene of
taking it too
Thor:
literal.
Love and Thunder.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying it's like the comedic version of Troy where they're calling on their champion to take on the entire army. And then to throw in the Chuck Norris Super Bowl commercial scene when he's doing the splits on the
Oh
two
god, that
bikes.
was just too
You
much.
can
I was,
say it. You can say it's cringy. I think it's perfect. I think it is so perfect for the tone of this movie. And Chris Hemsworth, who's he's got great comedic timing, and you let him run in a movie
yeah.
like this and just like go all out. I loved it. The characters, the little birds that were like, their movements were so like
Mhm.
not sporadic. They're just like twitching everywhere and just they were so cartoony that it was perfect. I thought
Mhm.
that there were so many great details and choices that this entire first scene, like I was rolling on the floor laughing. Absolutely loved it.
Okay, given the way you two guys are kind of at, and me too, kind of at different places with this, I'll throw this take I saw that kind of maybe explains this, and it kind of also goes for like the last few Marvel movies as we're in Phase 4, and I'll give credit.
Mhm.
I actually saw this. Some of you may know him on TikTok. Straw Hat Goofy is a big Marvel kind of movie guy that's kind of gotten big,
Straw
and
Hat
what he
Goofy.
said
Okay.
is if you look at Love and Thunder, if you look at Multiverse of Madness and even back to Eternals, those are movies that are very like the directors that made them. They are their styles all the way through. So, Multiverse of Madness was very horror, all these horror references because it's Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
Eternals,
Mhm.
what's her name? Chloe Gao. I'm sorry, I forget her name, but the director.
Oh yeah.
She's a
Yes.
very deep, has very philosophical movies. That's what Eternal was. And some
Well,
people
she
didn't
won
like
an.
that. Some
She's
people,
an Oscar winner. She's an
right? Yeah,
Oscar
no,
winner. Yeah.
exactly. And this was a Taika Waititi movie. If you've watched anything that Taika makes, for the most part, it's gonna be comedy over the top, and then try to
Yeah.
throw that emotion in there.
Well,
And so, if
yeah.
you're not as into that, I can see why you may not like certain parts of it. I mean, I think that's an interesting point to
No,
bring up.
so I love my favorite Taika Waititi movie is Jojo Rabbit. I love Jojo
Yeah.
Rabbit.
Okay.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, the creativity in there is just so brilliant. I love Taika. He plays Hitler. I mean, he's just hilarious.
Yeah.
He is hilarious. That's creativity comedy. With this one again, all right. I explained it a lot in my review. This is what I
Okay.
think would happen. All right, they made the movie. Right, let's just go point. Act 1, Act 3. They made the movie. Done. We got to add a joke here. I feel like the jokes were not natural. They were just like, we have to add a joke here, here, and it was just like, oh, we got to keep it. Just again, so going back to that, it's just like, oh, and there's rumors of having a 4-hour unedited, a 4-hour cut of this movie that's starting to emerge again, and
No,
it's
no
like,
way.
yeah, that's what
Yes,
apparently a
Ted. If
lot of
we have to sit through release the Snyder cut, I won't release the Taika
um
cut.
and
No, Taika
Ty,
said he hates director's cuts. He said they suck.
yeah, he does, but
Oh, I didn't know this.
this movie started out being 4 hours long, and I'm just like, there's a 4-hour cut where we see more of like, and there was a scene that got deleted. Maybe it'll be on deleted scenes. Was a scene that was dedicated to Game of Thrones fans, and it had Cersei, Peter Dinklage, and it had them like gods in the Zeus era, or that place, It's not Olympus, but you know what I'm
Well,
talking about. Yeah.
What was it called?
Yeah.
Omnipotence or something like that.
Omnipotent City.
Omnipotent. There you go.
Omnipotent City. There you go. Yeah. So it was a scene where they got those, those cloth things where Tessa Thompson gets. So they're essentially that scene got deleted, explaining where she got those from.
Well, was Peter Dinklage playing his same character from Infinity War? Or was he still the dwarf?
Oh, you know what?
Or?
I think it was just a nostalgic to the whole game.
It might have been because I do know that Lena Headey had a scene that got cut. I heard that too.
Yeah. Again, just a rumor, but
yeah,
if it was possible, like maybe it got edited out, I think it would have made the movie a little bit more better, in my opinion. But again, I didn't like Zeus being so much like I want him to be a cocky,
like Zeus.
No, I
like
want him to
he was like that.
No, I want him to be like a mean, cocky son of a gun, like a really mean guy, like really mean, and just be like, I'm everything. Like if this guy was a lazy, retired, it was just like, oh my god, it was too much. And again, nothing on Russell Crowe, nothing on him. I didn't like the way Tyga did this role. It was just a little bit different for me. Again, but I mean, I enjoyed it for what it was.
What up, Matt?
He's roping in more people into the Funko Pop giveaway.
Matt's in the chat, and he's promoting the Funko Pop giveaway from Alamo City Movie Talk. All prizes are going to be given from Ryan's personal collection. Congrats in advance to all the winners.
Oh man,
we'll let you know where to sign up later.
I don't have as big as Big Mike right there, man. He's got a lot.
Yeah. Can I just say zero chance that Taika decided to let me add this joke in post. No. Taika did everything Taika wanted to do. I'm sure Taika had every single thing laid out because that's the only way to do it. Even Korg in the back dropping these 1-2 worded quick witted jokes in the middle of a scene, the entire movie, that has to be done with precision and timing, and Taika has the mental capacity to lay all that out and execute on it. I'm 100% sure that he didn't just go back and add stuff in. That sounds kind of crazy. Yeah. I will say that
that's
Gore,
the way it felt. I'm not saying that's what he did. I'm just saying that's how it felt for me.
Oh,
yeah.
I also like Zeus because no, Zeus is mythology tries to put him on this pedestal, but no, Zeus is going around sleeping with everybody and getting drunk. No, this is exactly who Zeus is, and I'm glad that Taika went and did it this way because it felt no, this is what a realistic Zeus would look and act like, over the top. Twirling his little lightning bolts,
just reveling in everyone's applause and all the love from
him. Again, though, I mean,
it felt like Rocket League when he was throwing the bolt around, and it was making the thing. I was like, oh yeah, the Rocket League intro. That's pretty awesome. Yeah. No, I love the way Crow played it. It was awesome.
Yeah, I enjoyed Tessa Thompson here a lot as well. I enjoyed her. I enjoyed the whole
everybody
a cruise spot in the whole New Asgard. It's like a cruise destination. Yeah. All the cruise ships. I was all like, man, that's like a cruise port. I was like, dang,
Ryan
awesome.
Already has tickets to go.
I know,
visit.
Man. I'm all like, yeah, where's this place at? I was like, is this real? Is this really? That was really cool. I love that. That was again the creativity behind Tyga and all that. I love that. That was good. Yeah. Again, though, I'm not saying this is the worst out of the Thor movies because again, though, but man, this is coming from a fan that did not like Thor Ragnarok, though. You got to remember, I did not like Thor Ragnarok. Yeah, I didn't think of it. It wasn't a Thor movie. It was a Thor Planet Hulk movie, and essentially that. And Kevin Feige said it. We're putting two movies in.
Yeah.
Still cheaper than Galactic Star Cruise.
My bad. My audio cut out for just a second.
Okay.
Let's see. All good now. All right.
Is his audio out?
Audio. Oh, Ryan, we can't hear you. What is happening? Mine cut out for a second, and then I fixed it, and now yours is cutting out. Ryan, work on the audio. Let's see, real quick.
So, do we want to talk about? Let's talk about Jane Foster's story because that's obviously a big part of this whole thing.
Please. She
Yeah,
was fantastic.
yeah, she was.
I'm glad that not only did they give her more to do, but like she has to carry some emotional weight in this
Yeah,
movie. And like all the way up to the end, and it was like incredible. And spoiler warning again, I've already mentioned it 3 times, but spoiler warning, the end I want to hear this part though. The end works for me so well.
it's not what I expected. I I like the way they explain you get to the title. I mean, I thought that was kind of cool. And then,
Loved it.
you kind of find out, and we talk about, like the kids that show up in here too. You find out
Oh
like
my god.
everybody's kids wound up being a part of this movie in one way or another. Actually, apparently also Chris Hemsworth's wife was
Ditto.
one of the girls that Korg talks about him romancing at the beginning. Like I don't know if she was the pirate or because there was only a couple of them there at the beginning, but
Yeah.
apparently like the wife was one of those characters as well. Um,
I actually know who his wife is, not personally. She's another actress.
I was gonna say,
Maybe she was the one on the wolf because
it could have been.
the pirate didn't look familiar, and the one on the wolf was far away and
Wait,
covered.
am I mixing up actors? Is Hemsworth? Whose wife is the one that was in Fast and Furious? Is that Hemsworth or is that someone
Yeah,
else?
Hemsworth.
Okay, okay, yeah, probably the wolf one then. Because I don't, yeah, I don't think the pirate quite looked like her, but
Maybe that one.
yeah. But no, yeah, getting back
Uh,
to Jane,
Jane.
she did it. I mean, she did a great job, and I kind of like right off the bat, when you get the idea that like she's in denial of what she's facing, and just kind of keeps working, and like, and then they show that a little bit later when they kind of do that flashback to their relationship of he's worried about getting too close and all this, and she's worried about staying at the top of her profession partly. And I don't know, I kind of like you said, I think she did a great job with the character and the development. Speaking of missing scenes, when she comes back to New Asgard
Yeah.
and gets Mjolnir, apparently they filmed like a whole thing where she goes up into the air, gets it, and all that, and then they decided not
Ooh.
to show that. Like there's like like leaked footage from the set of like
Mhm.
her in a harness and these like guys in blue like kind of holding her up while she's doing this, like she's going through the whole process. But I guess they decided, whether the CGI didn't work well or what, to just not reveal it until the battle when he attacks.
Yeah, sometimes it's just
Hmm.
better narrative wise to just see her for the first time with the armor
Yeah,
on in the middle of the battle and see
right.
Thor's reaction to it.
Yeah.
So I don't hate it. I think it was cool. I liked the way they gave it to her. They
Yeah.
didn't really ever clarify it to Thor because the audience is meant to understand, like his father before him, he sort of swore the Mjolnir into protecting
Yeah,
Jane, and
Yeah.
his father did that pretty much the same.
right.
And yet he never kind of comes back to realize it, or could be another deleted scene. You never
That's
know.
true. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
I was gonna say, like,
I
I've
was
seen a lot of
always
people.
wondering how they would do it, and
Yeah,
I love the way they did it.
No, I get that. And, it just it comes down to like there's a I hate to say it, but it's like there was quite a few plot holes in here that didn't make sense. But again, though, they could have been explained in that
What's a
uncut 4-hour
I
version
will
of the
allow you to give us one
Yeah.
plot hole, and then that's it. Come up with your best one.
Okay, I'll get back to me. I'll mention it to you eventually. I'm gonna come with the. I got.
What do you
I mean, I got.
mean?
I mean,
I got 3 or 4,
realistically,
but
I'm sure
I want to
there's
mention a good
some.
one. I want to mention a good one, but yeah, I have to meditate on that. I have to let it settle real quick, and then I'll.
Okay.
So that way, it's a good argument.
No,
Um,
just give us a couple because I'm not saying it's flawless, but I'm saying I didn't see anything egregious in this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily plot holes. Again, though, it was just the way the story was just progressing. A lot of stuff like, well, how did they get this? How was just small little details, like especially that we did not see in the movie. Small details, not really plot holes, I guess, but like just
Sure.
small details. With the Gore the Butcher not explaining the teleportation thing. How does he teleport? or how is
Shadows.
he able? Yeah, the
Shadows.
shadow. See, I get that, but it's like, well, I don't know. He couldn't use the shadow to
Well,
go into that place.
wasn't
Uh,
the thing with the kids also just kind of like traveling on an asteroid? I just kind of thought back to that. Like he had
that
them,
was it was like Yu-Gi-Oh, the Shadow Realm.
like he was just they were just in that
Yeah.
little.
That was a moon.
Was it?
Yeah,
It
but
Was
was
they
it?
it
call it
was
the
a
Okay.
it
Shadow
was
Realm,
a
right?
little well no, it was a moon, but I guess the area it was in was like a shadow realm. But yeah,
I think that's what Thor said.
this
I don't remember.
I gotta make sure I called out earlier the splits. One of my favorite funny moments. The
Oh.
the um the ship that was being led by the goats that just ran into the moon.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Everybody busted out laughing during that
That's
part.
no moon.
That's no moon. Yes. And then no matter what, the screaming goats throughout the whole thing, I laughed out loud every single time because they are absolutely hilarious to me. And so you throw that in the movie, I'm already sold. I'm
Yeah,
already sold. And my
I get it.
mother-in-law as well. Shout out to my mother-in-law who as soon as I saw the screaming goats, I'm just like my mother-in-law is going to love this movie and she sure enough did. So Taika knows the way to
What
our funny bones.
for me actually one of the funniest moments is when Thor is using Heimdall's kid and he's talking to them or whatever, and Tessa Thompson's next to him with her braids, just like tickling his nose and stuff. So like all the kids see is him doing this the whole time. I go back to the ship and she's just like this. I don't know why I just
Oh
found
man,
that
that
so
was
funny.
good.
Like him trying to communicate with the kids. And speaking of which, Heimdall's kid was pretty cool.
Yeah,
Like I
Axel.
told Ted the night.
yeah.
Well, no,
So Axel's never
what's
been
his
in the
name?
movies,
Ares,
right?
but he's no. Yeah,
First time.
they've never mentioned him as far as I know.
Yeah,
His name is Astrid, and he
Or
goes, "No,
Astrid,
my
there
name
you
is
go. Yeah,
Axel."
Axel.
Axel.
Again, could have called this movie Thor: Guns N' Roses, but
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong about that.
uh,
No,
wait,
so good.
Ryan, this one's for you in the messages.
Dun dun dun. Matt says, Ryan, you sound you got a Virginia ham to take home, and you're complaining you don't have any bread. Everything can be everything, right?
Wow.
Is that a Northeast thing? I don't know what that means. Virginia ham, no bread. You should
I don't
have
know.
you should have brought up
That's a very
tortillas.
I know.
specific comment. I don't.
Yeah, that really is. Yeah.
If you would
I
have
don't-
said tortillas and some salsa, we could have been there with you. I'm missing. Matt, explain that one, sir.
It's like you were given a pound of barbacoa, but don't have the tortillas for it. Maybe like that.
But you forgot to buy the big red. How many times does that
Oh,
happen
there
to
you
you?
go.
a lot.
Classic
Oh,
Man.
man.
You got what you
got what you
needed. Don't
needed.
ask.
In all fairness,
All right.
I mean, if it's the full ham, I guess, but like if you're getting lunch meat, I think bread is kind of part of it. Anyways, let's get back to 11th.
Love and Thunder. Can I say I have to mention this about Christian Bale before I forget it? I was one of the ones disappointed that they did not go for the comic accurate looking gore because I wanted to see
yeah, that was
a
another concern.
little bit more
Yeah.
of a comic appearance to gore. However, I did not know Bale could take the character and take his facial um moves or maneuvers to a whole nother level. If you watch him very carefully when he talks, his jaw is like hitting the floor every time he speaks. And it should be CG. It should not be normal for a person to be able to open their mouth that wide, other than like Steven Tyler of
Yeah.
Aerosmith. But the way that he was doing it was so menacing and it worked. It absolutely worked. And to me, I'm like, it looks like it could be fake because it was just so good. He was elongating his jawline as far as he could every time he spoke, and it took the character of Gore for me to a whole nother level that I did not expect. It was incredible.
And I think also a little thing with it not being comic accurate, and sometimes they do this because they're afraid the more casual fan might get confused. I think they felt it might look too much like what's the the general for Thanos, Squidward, the
Yeah.
magician one. You know, it might look too much like, yeah, I forget his name off the top of my head. Sorry, but very similar gray. You know, kind of
Mhm.
face like that. And because I not that I'm a big comic person, but I in leading up to Thor and Love and Thunder, I've seen the stuff that was of what he looked like from the comics. So I feel like that's probably why. And of course, always got to be careful of the Voldemort comparison. So
He
Yeah.
also would have had the tentacles, very Twilight looking guy, but all
yeah,
white to kind of get around that. I feel like they could have done something, but it helps with the plot and his motivations. I will already get to the point where I was going to say at the beginning of the episode, where this movie resonated with me on a personal level, because I have a daughter. I am a father, and I have a daughter,
Yeah.
and so like watching throughout, I'm like, I understand the motivations. Where Taika throws a dagger at my heart is, spoiler alert again, is when we see the daughter at the end of the movie,
Yeah.
and Gord turns to her and says, "My love." For and it's this may sound cheesy, or it may sound like it's not a big deal, but maybe a lot of dads call their daughters that. But that is my only nickname for my daughter, is my love.
Mhm.
I don't call her anything else.
Yeah.
She's got no other nicknames. That's it for me. So when he says that, and the emotions that Bale is giving you, this could easily fall flat with any other actor, with any other person, like able to convey all these feelings and emotions in this very short amount of time at the end of this movie. Um, it works because of Bale. He deserves so much credit for
Mhm.
carrying that heavy load so much. He did an incredible job. It's gonna suck to not get more of him, but he absolutely did everything he
Yeah.
needed to in this movie. This movie is succeeds because of Bale as the villain.
I'll agree with you if we would have got more Bale in it. I didn't see any character development with Bale at all, man. I was just like, again, though, it has nothing to do with his acting or whatsoever. He did a phenomenal job. I enjoyed his, but again, I wanted to see more of like more in depth, of more emotional grasp. But again, they were probably not trying to do the dark era because again, we all know what happened. I know everyone gonna get hate on this, but Thor's my, out of all the Thor movies, it's Thor. I know not a lot of people like Thor Dark World. I really enjoyed Thor Dark World. But again, though, it's kind of hard to give that deep darkness because it still is a Disney movie. It still is a Marvel movie, and it's kind of hard to reach that realm. And they did, they really did in an attempt, I guess, so to speak. When it came to Jane and everything too, I feel like we're missing some part. I feel like again, I just feel like we're missing something out of this movie. I really do, as far as like the whole character development with Christian Bale and everything. I mean, it's funny because
Do you get development with villains a lot? I don't know. I don't know if I see that very, very
well,
often.
not in I hate to say it, but I mean
not
not
in
too
one
much
movie.
in not in Marvel movies, I would say, like more
I
like in
don't know any
like
movies.
like in like even the Batman, though, the Batman movie that just came out, we got in depth of the Riddler, why he was doing it. We get a whole like algorithm of like what was his obsession. We get a whole, again, though, that movie was a lot longer, but but still it was a lot longer, but still we got that whole aspect, that whole of like why is he doing this, of just how evil this person really is. And to pick this certain character, knowing, and I know a lot of people, a lot of Marvel fans, a lot of Marvel comic book fans, they're just like, this is a really menacing character. This really is. And I feel like with this movie, with this take, he was not menacing to me. He was not menacing whatsoever. I didn't feel that. I didn't feel that way. I think it was, it's just my take on it. I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate on it. It is what it is.
You're not
For
gonna get
me,
hate. You're not gonna get
yeah,
hate.
for me, it
Oh, I mean,
was
there'll
not.
be some people. It's people on the internet.
No,
And it's Marvel movies. They'll be hate. It's
yeah,
fine.
and that's the thing too. It's like I enjoyed this movie. I'll say it again. I enjoyed it. I'm not saying, I just, with Christian Bale being for what he got out of it, I just feel like we're missing some part of his take on it. Like, again, I could be totally wrong here. I could be like, oh no, there's no other take. This is what they want to do. That's what they wanted to do, and I'll leave it at that. But it was a lot to put into because you had to put a lot of screen time to Jane, Thor, and they didn't give enough to Bale. I would say that they did not, and I didn't feel like we got any sense of plot in here. Like, what was he really like? I mean, we got the whole gist of it, right? Like the whole like he's doing it for his daughter and everything. But again, I really want to see more menacing stuff. Actually, him doing it and him like really development. Like I'm doing this for my daughter and going through the trials and stuff of killing all the other gods and everything. But yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Go
agree
for it,
that
Mike.
maybe seeing the first few kills he goes through after that initial one he kills would have been kind of cool. Because we can almost talk about in a very Killmonger like way. Is he really all that wrong? Like some of his methods may be obviously bad, but like when you think about when we're going back to Zeus, right? He's kind of talking, and I think it's when he's kind of down talking to Thor right in front of him. He talks about how
Mhm.
actually the gods have a contest to see who gets the most human sacrifices to them. Like they're
Oh
really trying
yeah.
to get over in that place that most of these gods, or at least a lot of them, are pretty bad. So you can almost kind of discuss, you know, I mean, is he really a full bad guy? Like his family's wiped out. He had to watch his daughter die. Then he goes, and we
Yeah.
didn't really talk about it. You said there was that moment, but he meets that god of his people in like the
Mhm.
oasis, and like you said, the god just kind of mocks him. And luckily, again, little plot armor. There's a necro sword right there with the previous user.
Mhm.
Luckily, to get him started on his way. But I do agree it would have been cool to see a few of them, kind of maybe early on, um, to kind of get the tone of how he does it. But I guess maybe also they didn't want to really show that till he got to the battle at New Asgard that first time they show up. So
Yeah, it was definitely pretty quick as far as like it felt his villain felt rushed. It didn't feel like it was like it had a strong story. I guess that's the way to put it without being without again nothing on Bell though. Nothing on Bell though. nothing, nothing on Bell again. I'll see it over
yeah,
and over. Bell was just phenomenal. I loved Bell. I had to agree with Ted on all those emotional aspects. But again, I just wanted to, I guess I'm just wanted to see more of it, a lot more and a lot more menacing. Again, it's hard because it's like it's a Disney movie, so I can understand why they wouldn't do that route because they're not known for
yeah.
that, and to each his own and everything.
Ah.
To each his own, and
Looks
here's the
like a
thing
zombie
that
or vampire about to attack.
yeah, oh hey, it almost looks as good as Morbius. Oh man, look at
Better.
that. Hey,
Better than
see,
Morbius.
It's Morbin
here's the
time.
thing. Oh yeah. I mean, even I know not a lot of Marvel fans like Doctor Strange, but I was one of the people that really loved Doctor Strange so much. It was amazing movie. I enjoyed it better than this one, which is sad to say, because
Ooh.
yeah, I really did. It was way better than this one. It was more of a risk taker, and I know a lot of people did not like it because of the outcome of it, of all the deaths and all like the it was a little bit bloody than usual, and it was a risk. Sam Raimi took a risk, and Kevin Feige trusted him, and hey, it made money to a certain degree, and people enjoyed it. I enjoyed it,
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, I mean, with this movie, it makes me kind of a little. Again, this is future Taiga. It makes me kind of concerned as to where if because remember he's making a Star Wars movie. He can't do this style in a Star Wars movie. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. I
Depends
guarantee
on
you
what
money.
part of the universe he's dealing
It
with,
does. It
and they
really
probably
does
So
wind up back
depend.
on Tatooine anyway. So
they're gonna. That's what they're gonna start. The sands of Tatooine. It's gonna like the music. John Williams' music is gonna be all like it's gonna work. But you can't do these jokes like every because all
Tell me you wouldn't watch an original Han Solo movie with Taika directing.
Han
That would have
Solo,
been
yes.
on
ooh,
another level.
Han Solo, yes, because Han Solo was the shit. It was the worst out of Star Wars. It was just
Well,
crap.
wait, are you
But
talking like with OG Harrison Ford, or like with the new guy from?
I thought you were talking about with the new guy.
I'm
Oh,
saying
okay,
a Han Solo written movie by Taika
So now,
with
that's
actual
risky.
comedy, with actual
you
like
know
solo sarcasm, the
that
way
that
it
would
should
make
be done.
sense. That would make sense. That's more his style. That would make sense. I agree. but an actual episode, an actual Star Wars episode movie where we know it's not jokes all the time, where it's
Oh,
not doesn't
Poe
rely on,
Dameron.
yeah, it doesn't really rely too much on jokes. I mean,
Taika doing a Poe Dameron
Well,
movie,
he said he's
that
doing
would
a
be
Star Wars movie. He didn't say he was doing like episode 10, 11, 12, right? It's just
he
I
won't
assumed
be.
it.
I think they're
Yeah,
done
I
with
assume
the
it's a movie
Skywalker
in the
saga.
universe.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I'm just not.
Matt's
I'm just saying, episode wise, maybe he'll do it. You never know, but
yeah.
Mm.
Matt's in the chat. He says Maleficent is a villain that has a sort of a character arc in there, which good call out. Good call out. He also says they have treated Thor as more of an episodic. Not everything will be resolved. It shows current stakes at current times is actually needed with what they are working around Doctor Strange, where anything could be anything at any time. With Thor, it's just a glimpse into this particular point in time. Good call out.
You
He
know,
says
another.
Multiverse of Madness was
Sorry.
a much better movie than this. We'll see. Obi-Wan, Yoda, and Han Solo are the only ones allowed to be funny in Star Wars.
Okay, hold on. Chad. I want to go to this comment actually because it made me think of something when he says
Go
like
ahead.
only those characters are allowed to be funny. Maybe like if you have an issue with the comedy, maybe it's because there's no real straight men to play off of. Like everyone's making jokes the whole time, pretty much. Maybe if you
Oh, you're
had
talking about in Thor.
in Thor: Love and Thunder, yeah,
Mhm.
in Thor. Maybe if you had a few more like of your straight laced characters to play off of that, maybe then it doesn't seem so overwhelming for those who don't like all the comedy. Like I found it funny for the most part, but they don't really have any. Like you talk about Ghostbusters, right? And for the most part, Egon's science and takes everything literal. So like, Vakeman and everyone gets to kind of joke with him or whatever. You don't really have that here because everyone's making quips. So maybe there is something
Yeah.
to that. If for those who feel like there's too much comedy, I guess I can see that if there's no one to kind of play the straight laced, to kind of bounce off.
I agree with Brett. Yeah. But I mean, yeah, I would agree there too. It's definitely a take where what we see it. I mean, I completely agree with you, man. I really do, Mike. I agree with you.
Brett says, I think they were fleshing out more of the Jane Thor story and not the gore
He
because
forgot. Like
of
I
the
don't think he doesn't
movie's
know.
time constraints. Disney probably banked on most viewers wanting to see more Jane than gore. Honestly,
Probably true.
my own personal opinion, there's probably if you told me that the studio told Taika, you got to get this down to like 210, 215
Yeah, it's a little over 2
runtime.
hours.
I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah.
If you told me that, I would believe you.
Yes.
But
see,
but pero I also think that when Taika had the entire thing filmed, he wanted gore to feel more like a stalking serial killer type. That way we're not seeing because look, horror movies, right? Michael Myers, you see the bodies in the beginning of the movie. You see a little bit less of the deaths in the beginning. You see more bodies being found than there are kills because he's killing more people off screen than we see.
Yeah.
And then towards the end of the movie, he's really killing people and you're seeing every single detail. Like it's a bit of a climb, if you will. So I could also see where they're trying to have gore as this sort of serial killer in the shadows. He doesn't. We don't want the audience to know exactly what we're dealing with. Just as Thor doesn't know exactly what he's dealing with. He doesn't know what magic's being used. He doesn't know that there's shadow beasts being created. So it's all going to be new for us, along with our protagonist, our main character, if they cut out those early kills and we just see the carnage that he's leaving in his wake. Because even when Sif is being saved, she's not giving us anything. She says it was the God Butcher. She didn't say how, what he did, what he was using. Like we got so little information from Sif, even though she was a first-hand witness.
Yeah,
And it's
that's
all because not
Her arm. What happened to her
Story.
arm? That's a
It's in
follow-up.
Valhalla. We already know.
We never know. We don't know that. That's a
Maybe your
follow-up.
arm's in Valhalla. I
Yeah, I
love
know.
that, by the
Oh my
way.
god, if her
That's a-
arm would have showed up
Ooh,
behind,
Dude, that would have been
behind us at
great.
the
That would
end.
have been great.
Just like,
That would have. Hello.
Oh,
Yeah,
let's
I
see.
tell you, man.
Matt is still writing on Taika. Taika should be deleted from Star Wars projects. He offered Natalie Portman a role and didn't know she was in the
Yeah.
movies. He is disqualified. Let's wait and see. Let's wait and see.
He's not wrong about
again,
that, though. He's not wrong about that. He wasn't wrong.
it's not like he didn't know. Like it slipped his mind.
He
was
forgot.
Like,
He forgot.
he forgot. He made it sound like we're on set. And
It's not just that, but it's like, I mean, to know that he didn't. It's kind of hard because it kind of like makes it
Those
seem
movies
like
are like 20 years old.
not just that, but it's like it just makes him seem like did he really forget or he just like, oh, those are shitty movies. I'm not gonna care about.
I
them.
mean,
Like,
I
I
can
mean,
imagine if you're on set in the middle of this movie, you've spent like probably the last 2 years
So-
getting ready. It's a little thing. I mean,
that's the thing though, is that like with Tyga doing okay. If correct me if I'm wrong, but rumor has it that Tyga was trying to get everybody and their mothers and their sons and daughters that who are
he
on the
did.
set of Thor that are trying to be in the new Star Wars movie. I'm just like, why are you doing that? Like, where in your right mind are you already thinking on the next project? You should be focused on this one. Like, it's kind of like again, it
These
gets me
movies are
worried.
done months ago.
It gets me worried with no, but this was on set. Like, you never been on a. Let's get you on this one. When it was granted, it's definitely different because I'm just like, why is he doing this? Like, just focus on this project. But he's a really good filmmaker. He really is. But you know, it just depending where he goes from to after this, it's really going to determine where if he's going to stay with that same style or maybe take a risk and switch it up a little bit. Again, I mean, that Star Wars movie could really change it up for him if he tries to do a different style. But yeah.
yeah. Also, Matt, I've never forgotten Padme Amidala. I mean, that's one that's always in your mind.
Oh
But,
man,
I mean,
Disney
Taika,
keeps hiring.
different guy.
Oh,
I just,
man.
but personally, of course, I always remember her.
Oh God.
Oh man.
Brett says it would have been great if Heimdall would have waved at
With
Jay
Sif's.
with Sif's arm, Pennywise style, like hello, and like shaking it at her.
Oh man, and see like that, like knowing that we
hilarious.
got Idris Elba back for a small little cameo there. That was really cool to see. That was awesome. I love that.
You know what? I love the ending, by the way. That end credit scene is fantastic. I also had a little bit of a idea like I would have maybe equally for me if Jane would have been reunited with her mother. If she would have saw her mom.
See that's the thing though. Okay, so they were trying to
mothers
give
and daughters,
us
man. Mothers
they were
and
trying to
daughters. I
give
would
us
have loved that moment too.
They were trying to give us that emotional again. It's just I didn't feel any. It's tough because it's like
You're dead
They're
inside,
really
Ryan.
emotional.
You're dead inside.
no. That's the thing. I'm okay. I'm more of like it was like quick. Okay, here. Like it didn't really carry the emotion that I wanted. I mean, it was small. I felt it a little emotional, but it's like I'm used to where it's a little bit more intense, emotional, a little bit more. I don't want to say more sad, but I guess it's more sad in that weird. If that's weird to say, it's definitely I'm used to way more sadness, way more depressed scenes. I wanted to see more of her crying. I mean, not that's the thing. It sounds wrong, right, to say more of her like struggles.
Suffering?
I guess, but but it really takes a toll on
I saw
us
that.
because, but it was sugar coated. It was. But again, though, they're not known. Disney's not known to do certain things like that. So it's definitely.
So it sounds like you keep expecting people to not act exactly like they are.
I don't know.
Mean, if you keep saying it's not a Disney movie, they won't do that. Then I don't know why you keep thinking they're gonna one time hit you with that. I mean, again, this it was like a Thor Ragnarok sequel in the sense that it was that style that he set in Ragnarok, and there's a few times that Marvel. I mean, I think they don't get enough credit for sometimes that they get the emotional beats into some of these movies. And I don't know, maybe. And again, y'all talked about personal connections. I don't have the kids. This is kind of a unfortunate connection, but having people close to me that have gone through the cancer stuff, when they kind of shown her later toward the end where her, she's really looking weak and and
Yeah.
kind of affected. That got to me a little bit. Um,
I love that.
having
Yeah,
seen
and
that. Yeah,
I
yeah.
loved it. Yeah, I love that. That was great because I again it gave us more development to where her struggles are as being this character and everything. I love that. It
We're
was
still talking
awesome.
about Jane, right?
Yeah, I just wanted to see more, I guess, of it if that makes any sense. I know in a
Can
weird.
I tell you that if you blink, you miss it, right?
Yeah.
It's this final act. Look, we need to stop talking about this all nonsense and stuff. We need to talk about this movie and how great it is. I'm going to talk about one part, and then I'm going to get into this other part. This
You're just
final
gonna
act.
mute you. Oh, Ryan, your audio went out.
I'm gonna mute everybody. I'm gonna close
Again.
this chat. I'm just kidding. Keep going, chat. Keep going, chat. No, honestly, the thing I expected the least to happen in this movie was a Shazam family type moment where Thor gives the power,
Okay, yeah,
his
yeah.
power, and shares it with like 2 dozen kids and just these makeshift weapons. I did not know I needed that in my life. I loved every single second of this.
Oh man, dude.
Even little girl with the bunny and shooting lasers from his eyes and screaming and hair is all up and flaming like the Dark Phoenix. Like I love that part. Like there's so many
um,
moments in this movie where I'm just like,
yeah.
oh my god, that is epic. That is amazing. I will never forget that moment. Secondly, when we get to Thor sort of losing the fight against Gore,
Mhm.
they start playing November Rain. I'm a child of the 80s. I grew up when GNR. I wasn't old enough to appreciate GNR, but I was
Right.
old enough to understand this band has taken over the world.
Yeah.
And so I watched MTV back when they had videos, and I watched November Rain anytime it was on, all the way to the end. And my favorite part is when they change the tone of the song, and Axel starts playing the hell out of the piano, and Slash goes into his long solo riff, and to cut out the entire beginning of November Rain and just get to sort of the bridge and the outro of the song and
Mhm.
play it during that moment, you don't understand unless you've seen that video 1,000 times how impactful that is, because it's
Yeah.
that moment in the video where Axel's wife in the story
Mhm.
is basically dying, and he's at the funeral, and you only see part of her face because it's not a complete open casket, and it is like emotional and it's powerful and it hits you in the gut. And so Jane feeling the hits and then deciding, if you blink you miss it. It's
Yeah.
her sacrificing herself to
Mhm.
save Thor,
Yeah.
and it's so fast that it's almost too quick to realize the full gravity of what she's deciding. She's deciding to end her life early with like no chance of coming back, because she knows, Thor knows, one more time and that's it. You're not going to come back from this. And
Yeah.
so it's extremely powerful. It's borderline like Tom Holland not telling Zendaya about their history at the end of No Way Home, because it's that personal sacrifice, and strong, powerful. I love this writing. We got 2/3 of a movie that was full blown comedy, and then Taika can flip that switch, and when he flips it, I'm all in. Thor and Jane, Gore and his love, and just Thor being a foster parent by the end of all this. Like, I loved everything they decided to do. All of that worked for me.
Oh, all right. I did not like the kid scene. I did not like.
How do you
I
not
thought
like that?
I
Please
thought it
tell
was.
me. Explain.
I thought it was a Disney commercial when I was watching a Disney commercial advertising for the kids,
They're
saying
fighting monsters.
anyone could be Thor.
They're fighting alien monsters.
Again though, that's just my take on it. I thought it was very cheesy. I thought it was very, very cheesy. I was just like, come on, man. Like again, I felt more emotional grasp and a more plot and more story in Thor: The Dark World than I did in this one. But again, though, that's just my take on it. I felt more emotional, in Thor: The Dark World. But yeah, but again though,
What?
again,
Did you just
it's
say
not.
Dark World?
Yeah, Dark World. Yeah,
That was more
yeah.
emotional than this one.
Yes, for me. Yeah,
Grieving
for me.
fathers,
For me. Yes,
cancer patient Jane Foster.
for me. Yes, for me.
The only
When we
reason
lost Thor's because we lost Loki again or whatever, and then we lost Thor's mom in that scene right there. That was
I
really
knew that was fake.
that was
You didn't know that was fake?
no, not Loki. I'm just saying Thor's mom really I think
Oh,
that's the one
you
that
said Loki.
and Loki too, but I mean, yeah, it was the whole
Totally
I
fake. I
guess
knew it was
yeah.
the only way I would say that Dark World is better than this movie is Dark World had more Kat Dennings in it, and this just had the cameo of Darcy. Otherwise, I can't.
Yeah,
And
no, I
drunk
mean,
Selvig, right? Wasn't
and then
Selvig
Yeah.
like pantless running
yeah,
around?
I
Oh,
know
in
I'm the
Dark
very
World, yeah.
Yeah.
I know I'm the very small percentage there, and it just again though it's a very I know everyone loves Thor Ragnarok, everyone does, and that's fine because I enjoyed it too. I enjoyed
You
it as
don't.
much. Yeah, I enjoyed Thor Ragnarok. It's just
You told us you didn't like it earlier.
no, it's not my favorite Thor movie. That's what I said. It's not my favorite Thor movie.
Oh,
That's what I
I
said.
heard you say something else.
Yeah, see, man, fact check. I'll be like, no, I'm just kidding.
Let's roll the tape. Let's see
roll
what
the
he
tape.
actually said.
Let's roll the tape. But again, though, it just I did not like that scene there. I just wish it was a little bit more. I don't know. I wanted something different. The climax of that whole climax scene, I did not like. I like the fight scene between Jane and Bale. That was really cool. I really love that between Jane and Bale. And Chris Hemsworth in there. I love that. All that fight scene was really done. I'll agree with you as well, Ted. That scene between Jane and Thor was just so good, man. I love that. That was really beautifully done. And I think they relied more on actors, though, on Chris and Natalie's chemistry together, because we see this a lot more in this movie. It felt kind of not necessarily awkward, but it felt like it was like directed, I guess. I mean, it felt very directed in a way in the other movies and all that, but because we never really got as much Jane and Thor in this one. But yeah,
We got an entire montage
again
of
this
them rollerblading with Mjolnir. Like,
I love that. That was
love
good.
this
That was
stuff.
good.
It's
See,
so good. It's so
that's
funny.
story. Yeah, that's story.
That's
right
cheesy.
There. Yeah,
That's cheesy.
that's a
If
okay,
you like it, then you must like all of it.
No. You can't. Yeah. Hey, but
He was wearing a hot dog costume, Ryan. Did you
that was
like it or
good.
not?
Yeah, that
Thank
was
you.
funny.
Thank
that
you.
was funny. But when you're trying to do like a serious, when you're trying to figure out a plan,
Oh,
and
no.
then they make a joke about the plan, and then someone else makes a joke about the plan. They just keep going on and on. It just kind of like, oh my god, okay, we get it. Like, let's go with the plan. All right, and then it works for some. It works for some. It really does. But knowing that it's a movie, not a TV series, we only have limited time. I'm just like, it's, but again, though, like a lot of people, love it's kind of like what Guardians kind of does in a way. They kind of do it like that a little bit when they all make jokes and they're all trying to figure out the plan and everything. And I love Guardians 1. So, I mean, it just goes back to where the style comedy and everything you mentioned there. But, I did not like the ending, man. I did not like the ending. I love the end credit scenes though, but I did not like the ending of the movie.
I did not expect that ending at all.
Really?
But I didn't see him like becoming a stepdad or foster dad at the end. That's not, but I was fine
Real
with it.
dad.
I thought it was kind of funny because, and I don't know, maybe this is me overthinking the MCU, but like if you think of the end of Multiverse of Madness, it kind of seems like everything's cool except Doctor Strange has that third eye from his dealing with the the Darkhold, and here he's got a foster daughter, but she's not quite a full human daughter because he was brought back by eternity, and she has a little more power. So like, I don't know if that's nothing, and maybe we see her again in the next Thor movie, maybe in Young Avengers, or maybe there's something to her in the future where she's not quite a normal child again because she was brought back by eternity, and there's something to that. I don't know. And for what it's worth, I thought it was kind of clever the way we find out what Love and Thunder had meant the whole time. I mean, I just thought it was a cute little thing. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. So.
Shout out to Game Theory, Matt Pat, who did an entire theory on what Thor: Love and Thunder would be about, and he was wrong, but for the right reasons. He actually came to the same conclusion that Love and Thunder would be a child and Thor, but he thought it was going to be his
Mm.
child, and instead ended up being Gore's child. And if I'm getting that wrong, Matt Pat, I apologize. But
That would make sense.
just like
Yeah.
Mike, I like, to me it puts a very nice bow on this entire movie. And Thor's sort of been one of the MCU characters that has grown the smallest over the last 20 something movies.
Um,
He's always going through pain, but he's sort of never learning from it as much as he should.
okay.
And
Okay.
because even at the beginning of this one, he's still like a shell of himself, and he's lost all of his family, and he's lost Jane, and he's struggling with that. And I kind of see similarities between him and Drax, because Drax is incapable of showing emotion, but
True.
he
Yeah.
completely feels a ton on the inside, and Mantis was
Yeah.
the catalyst that was able to show us all that.
Yeah.
So
I just think he's confused.
Thor's always trying
Yeah.
to like be this big macho um god of thunder, and he's never really exploring those things, nor does he really have anybody to explore it with. I mean, all he's got
Mm.
is Korg, and Korg's not necessarily the best psychiatrist in the galaxy. So I
I
I
mean,
like
he
this
had Loki for a
change.
while, but he just kept trying to stab him.
Yeah.
So Loki did try to stab him.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing too. It's like, he felt very confused. But again, I could have seen that whole like development we saw out of him. I was for it, but I just wish it would have gone a little bit more deeper than instead of sticking to the comedy realm of Thor. Like, oh, I can't figure it out, or just joking about it, and I'm just like, bro, you're depressed. Like, what the heck? Like it just,
But he hides it. No,
and
he has to hide it. He
and that's the
has
thing
to.
though. We don't really see that. Uh, we really don't see that emotional though, because it's like they don't want to touch up on that, because it gets to like the euphoria realms and all that. So it gets very, very. I don't want to say very depressing, but in a way, it kind of leads it towards a different direction. The whole movie in general. But again, though, I mean, nothing on that. I love Thor's Chris Hemsworth. When he smiles, man, I can't help but to smile. That guy's a good-looking guy. He carries this. He is Thor, God of Thunder. He is Thor. He is. I mean, he carried this movie for me. I'm not gonna lie. Him and Jane, every time they're on screen, I loved it. I loved it so much. And I'm biased already because I love seeing Chris Hemsworth as this character. I really do. And it's really revealing, and I can't wait to see what's in store for the next Thor movie.
Legacy of Nerd has joined us on YouTube. Shout out to Legacy. Check them out. Subscribe to their channel, please. He says, I think this movie was always going to be hard to do because of where he left off on Endgame. He was so utterly deep in depression. We are watching him learning to rebuild. Brett says in the chat, question, now, when are we going to see Better Ray Bill and Throg? I don't think we're ever going to get Better
I
Ray
don't
Bill.
know.
I thought we were going to get him 2 movies ago, and it never happened. So I'd say almost never. Legacy Nerd also says, but seriously, Thor
True,
has way
yeah.
more loss in the MCU
Yeah.
than
See,
Spider-Man
and
616. Yep.
that's I agree there. Maybe on the next Thor movie, if it does get announced, because there's no announcement for Thor, but I mean, maybe they should do they should let a different director come in and take this.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, and take it to a whole different turn. Really, I mean, in a sense, to where like I'm God of Thunder now, I'm Protector, and all this stuff, and I want to see that. I want to see that relationship grow.
Brett with the comment of the night. So did Thor replace Cap as America's ass? No, he's now the galaxy's ass.
Right, exactly. It's much bigger
As
than
the
just
ass of the
America for him.
galaxy.
It's omnipotent city's ass. So I mean,
Oh man, yeah,
Oh,
it's definitely
dude.
going to be interesting seeing, especially Hercules coming in the game and everything. So it's definitely going to be interesting.
I know you're excited, Ryan, for Hercules.
Yeah, it looks really good, man. I'm really excited. I'm excited for that actor.
Yes.
I'm really
Yeah.
excited for him. I mean,
I know you're a big Ted Lasso fan, and I just
Yes.
finished. I just finished
oh,
all
you
the
just
the
finished it.
seasons,
Oh
Yeah, a
wow,
few weeks
yeah.
ago, I
Oh
binge
wow.
watched Ted Lasso in like a week and a
Oh
half,
man. See,
and
that's
he's
story
amazing.
driven. That's emotion. That's I
It's
mean,
also
it's
a
dude,
TV show.
true, but it's a
Yeah.
fantastic TV show.
It's really good, and
Yeah. I
yeah,
was oh, Brett says I was a little bit disappointed with Hercules. Can we give off of Bollywood vibe?
potentially. Listen, Brett, go watch Ted Lasso. The guy, I
I
don't
mean,
know his name
it's
off the
kind of
top of
hard.
my head.
Yeah.
Go watch Ted Lasso, and the guy who's playing Hercules is on that show, and he is hysterical. He is well. Don't watch it with the kids. Your kids are actually old enough. It's just f bombs. It's British curse words every other
Love it.
sentence,
Their
and
cussing is so
he's
proper.
perfect.
Like their cussing is like
Yeah.
the way British people just cuss. It just sounds so proper. It sounds so polite. I just love it. With us, it's like f this, f that. With them, it's like, oh, go f yourself. Thank you. It's like I don't know. That was my worst British accent. But yeah, I want him to be
Nailed it,
Wolverine.
Ryan. Nailed it.
Yeah, it was terrible. That was my terrible. But
Legacy
again,
Nerd says he would have been good as Wolverine, but Hercules
uh,
is good too. It's fitting. Absolutely is.
You know, not to get off topic, but whoever they finally bring in to have Wolverine it's gonna be controversy one way or another because people are gonna love
I don't.
it. People are gonna be like, "Oh, it's not what we've known as Wolverine for years."
Yeah.
Good luck to that actor, whoever gets it.
I,
That's
I
all I'm
don't think
saying.
we're gonna see an X-Men or a Wolverine movie probably like for another 5 years. I would say we're not gonna get anything.
Do,
There's
do
so
you think
Kevin.
we're gonna get certain member? I mean, not to get off topic too much, but do you think we're gonna get certain X-Men members popping up in other movies before we see a full X-Men, or just X-Men and then they reveal all of them?
It's tough because with the slate they have already slated out with the Marvel movies and everything, it's very tough because it's like they're not really doing Fox movies per se in a way. I mean, besides Fantastic Four, then they're like, oh, we're gonna do Fantastic Four. We haven't heard anything about that. We haven't really. It's all hush hush, as of right now. But that could change.
Because
Yeah, I was gonna say yeah. I
Oh,
was gonna
that's
say that.
yeah.
Yeah,
they're
that could.
waiting. We'll know in 2 weeks.
I
What
don't-
what day is that again? 25th or something? 20.
The weekend of the 22nd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I
We
mean,
we will because
I don't know about
they've
X-Men though. I don't know about X-Men. Maybe Fantastic Four and all that. X-Men is not. I don't see it happening. Again, I could be wrong. I
Well,
don't see it happening.
Fantastic Four was already announced, so hopefully we'll
Yeah.
have characters or
teased.
actors
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I mean, I'll give it to you.
But I also assume they're going to announce that next slate
Mhm.
of movies and shows that we haven't heard of. So, X-Men's possible. Maybe that's the last thing they announced, kind of like at that last announcement like 3 years ago, they ended on Fantastic Four, basically. Maybe the end and then X-Men. Because another question I kind of want to get into one day with the MCU in general, are we moving away from Avengers being the big tentpole movie of the phases? I assume we kind of are now that you're getting
In a
not
way,
not like not
yes.
fully, but like this universe is expanding rapidly
Yes.
with characters. We're bringing more things in,
Multiverse. Yeah.
and maybe it's worth having Fantastic Four, eventually the X-Men take over that like
Mhm.
end of the series kind of big movie, end of the phase, if you will. Just something to think about as we go forward.
Yeah,
I can
definitely.
see that. I can
Yeah.
see that. But you still need a checkpoint, right?
Well, yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
though.
Because if not, well, what I mean is like MCU, they still need to navigate the audience because right now we're sort of like in
We
just
don't know where it's
lanes.
going. We don't know where
Yeah,
it's going.
it's
We really
really-
don't.
And-
It's
and-
tough right now. It's tough.
And the fan base is getting anxious, and I can see
Very.
that, and
And
y'all can see
upset.
that.
It's like
weird.
it's
weird.
annoying.
They're
It's
like
annoying.
San
It's like Marvel
Antonio
fans-
Spurs fans. You
Oh,
had 5
no.
titles. Sit back and
Oh my God.
relax. All right.
Hey, all I'm saying,
All right.
exactly. All I'm saying is that Marvel fans need to get the stick out of their alveolus and just figure out, like, hey, it's a movie. Just be grateful we're getting a movie this year. Like, just be grateful and for what is what it is. It's weird how like I don't know, whenever end credit scenes started happening, they're like, oh, we think we deserve an end credit scene. No, you don't deserve an end credit scene. They do that for us. They do that because they love the properties and everything. It just, again, it goes back to, a lot of people did not like Thor going Dark World. They did not. I'll agree. It was reshoots. It was a mess. behind the scenes, it was a freaking mess. But with what we got, there was a lot of death. There's a lot of Asgardian death. I loved it because we saw the struggles and we saw how easy it was to take over Asgard and all that. And I love that. Now, knowing where
Wasn't that Ragnarok?
no, that was Dark World. Whenever the elves took over, it was
Did
real
they
quick.
take
They do
They took over.
infiltrate, and
Yeah, they take over the whole kingdom. Yeah, it was real quick. I was like, what the hell? And then
because Thor and Loki
I
kind of
forgot
have to
about it.
escape out to regroup,
What?
right? And,
yeah, to regroup, and Loki ends up being in the dungeon the whole time because they put him in
Yeah.
prison or whatever. And yeah, it just it's the whole I don't like Tom Hiddleston as Loki, but I enjoy him with Thor. Every time he's with Thor, I enjoyed it. I enjoy. Okay, I know.
Wow,
I'm going
okay.
crazy. I know, going crazy here.
What are you doing?
I know. And
Are you trying to lose subscribers now?
I know. I know. And I enjoyed the girl Loki. I forgot her name in the series
is that
more
a
than I
WB
enjoyed.
hat you have on, or what?
Yeah. And that's the thing too. It's like,
How much is HBO Max paying you to say that?
oh man. And then that's the thing is that like, where are these shows going? Because they have to correspond with the movies and everything. It's kind of like, I mean, I don't know. It just are y'all open to like maybe a Thor movie or series, I guess, or like
Depends on
if they were to
what,
do
like just
like
Thor, or like part of.
I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. I don't know. Like a Korg, maybe a Korg scenario here.
Spin-off? I wouldn't mind a spin-off of Korg or like a prequel for Korg. That would be entertaining. Limited series. Don't take it too seriously.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
Yeah.
you know what I'm okay with, because you know what I want answered in Ragnarok. He
Tell me.
makes the joke about his mom brought her boyfriend to his, he's trying to start the revolution. He didn't print enough pamphlets. Then in this movie, he says he was born of two
yes.
male. Korg is like
Yes.
holding hands. I just want to understand how the family structure works in his rock people.
Alien
then.
species or whatever.
Like,
yeah.
Because he has apparently a mom, possibly two dads.
I know
what
about.
exactly, I
could
just
be completely normal for them.
I know, but that's what I mean. I want to understand what is the dynamic then of his people. Because I thought the joke was funny, and and they held hands over a volcano, and that again, half of it's just Taika talking as Korg that I find humorous. Because Korg was like my favorite character coming out of Ragnarok. I'm not gonna lie, I got a little sad when you think he dies. When you think they kill Korg, I was like, oh, really? And then they do the face thing, and I was like, okay, all right.
Ryan didn't feel the thing, did you, Ryan?
No. See, so okay, here's the thing. I wish they would have kept him dead and brought him back later in the movie. I wish that would have made more emotional. Made
or
the
maybe
fans
done
more
a Groot type thing.
Oh
yeah. Kind of comes back at the end from it kind of was, I guess, because the face the face is the only part alive. But I could see what you're saying. Not until the end, but
I kind of felt like they could have brought him back into the end where he saves or where he fights with Thor, because we don't really see him after they go to the Asgard where he drops off Jane in the hospital. We really don't see Korg after that, besides him growing back to his normal self.
Yeah,
we really don't see, because
I don't think he's
the
plot hole.
Again, just small details. They did not ruin the movie for me.
He's narrating the whole. He's also narrating the whole movie, so we know like the beginning when he starts talking is really just him already experiencing the entire film.
Yeah, no,
I'll tell you the story of
I'm for it. I really am. I love his voice. I love it. Yeah. It's good.
All right, we need to get to our Geekcast rating. For those of you watching on the stream, we want to hear from you guys as well. So the way it works is we give you a 1 to 5 scale. You let us know what you guys think. We're going to let you know what we think. 1 being Thor: The Dark World, and 5 being Captain America: Winter Soldier, because that's still the best Marvel movie of all time.
Wait, what? What did you just say?
So here we go. We're going to start with Big Mike. Big Mike, give us your Geekcast rating for Thor: Love and Thunder.
I'm going to give it a 4.25. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, for the most part, I want to go see it again, because there is a little part of there is a
I
little
said
part of
1 to
me
5.
Oh,
um
okay. I was all like, wait, what? I was all,
maybe
oh,
likes Ragnarok a little bit more. Not that this was bad by any means, just
yeah.
because maybe it was the first introduction into this type of Thor movie, and so it seemed like
Mm,
such a change. But I liked it. I had so much fun, and I didn't really get into like the visuals of that shadow realm, like the detail to like
that
anything
fight
that
scene was
had
good.
light, anything that had light would put color back onto them, their clothes,
Mm,
their weapons. And so if you really watched it, like I could see like the light of their weapons, like lighting just part of their clothes. Like I thought it was
That
really
was pretty
cool
dope.
visuals.
that was
So
good. I
yeah, like
enjoyed that.
it was really good. I don't know if I would put it at the top, but again, we're kind of at a point with the MCU. They've made so many movies. There are some that because of the part of the story they're telling, you know, and again, I agree that Captain America: Winter Soldier is one of the best movies the MCU has produced because of what it was. I understand maybe in the pantheon of the movies, it's maybe not as important, but like it was a really well done movie at the for what it was at the time, and I mean I really like that one too. So maybe I don't
Yeah,
know if I would put it as the top one, but I don't have a problem with it being up there. So.
it's totally fine. It's totally fine. So Mike's score 4.25. Ryan, let's hear from you, sir.
So this is out of 5, right? 1 out of 5,
Yeah.
5 being the highest,
1
right?
out of 5. 3 is
Oh,
essentially like the middle, because I know
See,
some
um,
people have trouble with that.
yeah, no, no, no. I mean, because I'm my rating's a little bit different. It's 1 to 10. Um, uh, so I'm gonna have to I'm
oh,
gonna have to
sorry, it's a
do
comment.
We'll
I'm gonna have
switch
to
it up for you, man. I'm just
I'm,
kidding.
I'm gonna have to do a solid 3 here out of here.
Cool.
You know, a little bit above average. You know, this is a fun Thor movie. You know, obviously we recommend every Marvel fan to go check out this movie. You have not already. This movie really is fun. Chris Hemsworth really carries this movie out. It's wholesome. Chris and Natalie Portman, they do a phenomenal job. They really do. I love their chemistry together. I was afraid it was gonna be so awkward and weird, but nope. I was more afraid it was gonna be like almost like where Hayden Christensen on on I really
Oh
thought it was gonna
no.
be that awkward. I really thought, but with the smile, Chris Hemsworth, and just the whole neediness to him, just the whole brilliant smile, the whole brilliant abs body that he had. I mean, that was a good looking guy right there, man. All I'm saying is that he really carries out the movie there, and he really shapes out the whole
Oh,
film in itself. I mean, yeah, definitely. And
Ooh.
I'll say it again, the ending I was not a fan of, but I could see why Ted has a connection, and that's good. That's honestly, I love that. But again, it just didn't hit me on all cylinders there. But yeah.
Very nice, very nice. And rounding out the Geekcast ratings for this review, real quick before I get to the number, I did see this twice, and I will say that it was a better viewing for me on the second time. The first time, it felt slightly rushed, not a lot. I will say slightly.
Okay.
The second time around, though, the pacing it felt a lot better, and yet all the jokes still hit the same way they did the first time I saw it. It's quite an achievement. It really is. And like I mentioned, Taika, when he flips that switch, when he wants to hit those emotional
Uh,
beats, it really worked. Jane's sacrifice,
yeah.
Gore's agony as a grieving father, and then Thor. Thor basically realizing like fighting doesn't really do anything anymore. Like I
Mhm.
just want to be with the woman I love.
Yeah.
Solid, solid. My rating 4.5, and that brings our overall Geekcast rating to a 3.92. Not too shabby, as I always say. Let's get into these comments real quick.
uh,
Brett
mm,
says solid 4. Maddie,
Mm.
Maddie says 3.7. It was worth eating, but not worth recommending your
Wow, that
friends.
I'm very yeah.
Try when they visit. It's all right. And then Legacy and Nerd, solid 5. Thor became a girl dad. We just found out we are having a girl. So really, Thor and I are pretty much exactly the same now, looks and all. What? Oh,
congrats, Legacy.
congrats,
By the way, that's
brother.
cool, man.
Yeah. My man. Hey, you know what? Daughters are incredible. They're way easier to raise than boys, at least early on. Let's just say that early on, it's been an amazing ride. So, um, God bless you, man. That's amazing. Congrats again. Congrats from all of us to you
Okay,
on finding
before we
out.
finish up,
You're gonna have a great time, by the way, like choosing costumes for your daughter to cosplay in. Like it's just amazing. There's so many more
There's so
options
much,
out there.
yeah.
There's so
That's
many
funny.
more.
And Ted will be doing them all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's
No, real
already
quick
got
before
Captain
we kind of
Marvel,
close out,
Batgirl, Supergirl. Go ahead,
I
man.
wanted to kind of reference back. This is kind of an off-topic aside, but it references something Ryan said in his review, talking about being worried about Natalie Portman and Chris Hemsworth. Being almost like Hayden Christensen and her in the prequels. There is a movie on Netflix. I don't know, maybe either of y'all have seen it, called Little Italy. It's a simple little rom-com from about 2018 with Hayden Christensen and Emma Roberts and a few other actors and actresses y'all probably know. And it's just kind of funny. Like, I watched it this past week, wasn't expecting much, and it was just funnier than I thought. And it's Hayden Christensen again, which he didn't really come out a lot of things after those prequels.
Mhm.
I know there was a few
Not a lot,
movies he was
no.
in, and then it kind of so when I saw him in something, I was like, oh, this is kind of strange, but funny little rom com, hour and a half. Not going to change your life, but it'll make you laugh and just kind of funny. So I watched that this past week, and I was thinking about that when he said that, about Hayden Christensen, how bad his acting is, kind of talked
Well,
about in the prequel. So
yeah, no, I mean, nothing on him. It was just
no,
more
no,
the
I know,
chemistry between
right.
yeah, again, could have been the green screen, the big old green screens that were everywhere.
And also,
And it
some
was,
people said it
yeah.
was kind of like what Lucas directed them
Oh
to
yeah. Oh
do,
yeah.
but that's all
I've
other.
heard, yeah. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a whole nother animal and everything, a
Mhm.
whole nother obstacle
Episode.
course to, yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. But Ted, you said your favorite MCU movie is Captain America: The Winter Soldier?
Still Winter Soldier, man.
Dang, okay, all right.
Can I tell you why?
Tell me why.
And I didn't realize this until like 10 years later. But the Russo brothers, they were very inspired by the movie Heat. Heat was an
Oh,
early
okay.
90s movie
Yeah.
that was the first movie that had Al Pacino and Robert De Niro in the same scene. Also had Val Kilmer,
Throughout
all
Kilmer,
star
yeah.
all
Mhm.
star cast, right?
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
was a
brilliant cast.
brilliant cast, amazing story, great director. Michael Mann was fantastic. And so the Russo brothers wrote and directed Winter Soldier with the movie Heat in mind.
Mhm.
Heat, still to this day, is my all-time favorite movie of all time. Nothing else.
I'm not
I've
gonna
s-
argue
I've
with you
seen
there.
it. I've seen it
It's
a
a good
million
selection.
times,
Yeah.
and so when I watched Winter Soldier, I couldn't figure out why it sort of had such a not a nostalgic feeling, but just had sort of a
It's familiar.
remembrance, or yeah, it was
Yeah,
very
Mhm.
familiar.
familiar,
Yeah,
and it was just
exactly.
so raw and gritty. The action from the get-go, like
Yeah.
people were trying to murder Sam Jackson in his Escalade, like with
Yeah.
Yeah.
machine guns, and I'm just like, this is intense. And it was that intensity level that they were
Mhm.
able to capture that was from Heat, because Heat had, for the first time potentially, automatic weapons in the
Yeah.
open streets of downtown LA,
Yeah.
like taking out cop cars and police officers. And I'm not trying to like glorify violence, but you kind of felt the gravity of the situation
No,
and
yeah.
realized like how just insane what was happening
Mhm.
on screen. And they were able
Yeah.
to do that in Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that. I glorify movie violence more because it's, we all know it's fake essentially, but it's just, yeah, completely agree with you there, man. Heat is like all time my top 10 action movies of all time. It's weird because I have so many favorite movies. I have to set them at genres because I'm just like, it's hard. No, it
I think
is
that's
because
fair.
they're like,
Yeah. No. No. I
no,
believe.
people
Yeah. I think
people
that's
always
fair.
ask me. They always ask me.
It's
Every
tough.
time they're like, what's your favorite movie? I'm all like, it depends what kind of day I'm having. There's
Right.
days where
No,
I'm
I
having
agree
a
with
hard
you.
time and I just wanna, have a hard day at work. You just want to go Godfather on their asses. I mean, there's times where like you just, it just depends. There's times where you're really into music and then you get influenced by that music and you start talking about Whiplash. You start talking about like all these
Kate Bush running
musicals.
up that hill.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, it's definitely I would say definitely for me, it's always the time of day that you ask me, I guess, so to speak. And yeah, I mean, of course I'm gonna have the top 10 movies of all time that I have to watch at least more than once a year. But for you, it's Heat, right? You said
Heat. It always has been since the first time I
that's
watched
awesome,
it.
man.
I was like, "What am I watching?" It was, it was The Dark Knight before The Dark Knight came out, because Heat was like, like small, like
It's yeah,
short movies in order, and The Dark Knight was very much like not one plot. It was
mhm.
like these little subplots over and
Yeah. I
over,
mean,
and it was just
that's a prime movie where it had so much character development, it had so much story to tell. It
yeah.
was really good. Yeah, I'll agree to that.
A Heat reference in a Thor: Love and Thunder spoiler review episode. Didn't think that was going to happen, but hey, I'm not complaining.
There you go.
Yeah,
Thanks to everybody
awesome,
for
man.
joining us in the chat. Legacy and Nerd, Matt, Brett. I know there's other people I'm forgetting. Appreciate everybody else who is in the chat. We appreciate you guys. Daniel, I know you're in there somewhere. Um, if you're watching this video later, we still want to hear from you. Let us know what you thought about Thor: Love and Thunder. Drop your comments or your ratings in the chat
Mhm.
below, or you can always send us a message on Facebook by clicking that send message button, or email us on the contact page of our website at www.countdowntothegeekhouse.com. Plenty of events to talk about that are coming up. We'll be releasing details hopefully very soon, but there's a
Yeah,
lot of cool things that we are planning that are in the works. So we cannot wait to share those things with you. This
definitely,
was a
definitely.
great. It was a great
Yeah.
episode. Can't wait to do it again. Tomorrow we'll be talking about Superman and Lois, the finale, as well as
Uh,
catching up with,
I
as
always
well
have to
as
do
catching up with
that.
Miss Marvel, and then later this week, the WrestleCast is getting together because there's
Wait, y'all
not
are
been
y'all are doing yours tomorrow?
potentially,
Is that what
yeah,
you said? Okay.
yeah.
Because I was gonna say we may be doing the WrestleCast tomorrow or Wednesday,
We're gonna
possibly
figure that out.
Thursday, but we'll see what
We're gonna
happens.
figure that
Okay.
out. Yeah.
Check our
The
social
WrestleCast
medias,
is
including
also.
TikTok, apparently.
Ooh, yes, Countdown to the Geeks on TikTok. But the WrestleCast will be talking about wrestling news because this is like the most dramatic time in like wrestling, outside the ring type
Potentially.
information.
It's
I mean, it doesn't get
potentially,
any bigger
yes.
than what's been
Yeah.
happening outside the ring. So yeah, check that out. And then Maddie B will be joining me this week for another episode of the Ghost Heads Radio Show. We will be
Awesome.
talking anything and everything about Ghostbusters, including upcoming video game projects
Yeah,
and potential news regarding
film.
the movies.
Yeah, excited for that. Excited for so much story that's going to be told here. Hopefully they do it. They do it justice like the way they did the last one. It's definitely going to be entertaining.
Brett, we appreciate you, man. He says, "Damn, I'm supposed to go to bed early. Y'all stop having such a good podcast." Yeah,
We
we
appreciate
See?
do
that.
this
Thanks,
for you,
man.
sir. We do this for you.
Yeah.
And then we are Countdown to the Geeks on TikTok. You can see Maddie B's slick dance moves, as well as some of our adventures with the Ghostbusters of San Antonio. For the Countdown to the Geekcast, my name is Steady. With me on this episode is the one and only Big Mike.
Thanks, guys. Be good to each other.
And last but never the least, joining us again from Alamo City Movie Talk, it's Ryan.
What's going on, guys? Thank you so much for watching. Like, share, subscribe. You know you want to, guys. Check out here on the Countdown City Geekcast. Yeah.
Have a good night, folks. Peace.